So the 2016 election season is over. Now what? So in 2012, Gary Johnson lost bad. I was the Washington State campaign director. I really had no clue what I was doing, and we ended up getting 1.4% of the vote here in Washington State, and we were pushing for that 5% goal back then 4 years ago. Well, I felt disappointed, probably a similar feeling as many of the campaign volunteers and supporters are feeling right now who helped out this season, but I learned a lot. One of the most important lessons from that election was that there was way too much emphasis on the presidential race, not enough focus on state and local elections. And after the 2012 election, we lost momentum until 2014. And right now, we have more momentum from this election season than we've ever had. And I want to keep us gaining momentum going into the next 4 years. And I'm sure you want to as well. So to do this, we need to make sure that we have the proper mindset. So I'm going to give you an example, a couple examples. We have Brian Thiemer. He ran for Fairfield City Council back in 2014. He received a little over 900 votes, or 3.5% of the vote. This year, 2016, he received almost 6,500 votes, or 16% of the vote. Huge jump. He was also endorsed by one of his local papers. He was able to build relationships in the community over the last couple of years. Randy McGlynn, who ran for state rep here in Washington in 2014, received about 1,600 votes, or 8% of the vote. This year, he received 10,782 votes, or 30.6% of the vote. Huge jump in the amount of votes he received this year versus 2 years ago. James Abker, who ran for state senate also in Washington, received 9,500 votes, or 20% of the vote in 2014. This year, he received 10,700 votes, or 30.4% of the vote. Another big gain. And then there's Gary Johnson. You're familiar with that. 2012, 1.2 million votes, about 1% of the vote. This year, over 4 million votes, 3.23%, and the national total is still going up because they're still counting votes. Washington State's only at 72% counted right now. So these are just a handful of races with gains from previous results. I've been looking at vote total results from previous years, and I'm looking at these gains that we're having. It's not just Gary Johnson. It's not just the presidential race. It's down ballot tickets all across the country. These candidates are raising more money. They have more support, more endorsements, and they're still in a great growth potential for future campaigns. And that's even if there's a different candidate running for those same positions. When we first run for office in an area, we run to start building a foundation for future success. We get to see where we stand as libertarians in the hearts and minds of the voters in that area. We get to start educating people in our communities on the positive economic and social benefits of increased liberty. We also get to start building up our support base, right? Our support base that will help boost us in future elections. Running for office, volunteering on campaigns, it all should be looked at as a learning process that we can only get by experience, by doing, by taking action and making it happen. Now, the 2016 campaign season is over. It's done with 2 days ago, right? But what we do now, I'll tell you what we do now. We build on the success of this year. We become the best communicators, the best candidates, best support people we can become. We keep building, set our focus on the 2017 and 2018 election cycles. And I know there's already talk of who's going to be our presidential candidate in 2020, but we really don't have a clear shot of electing a libertarian to the office of president if we can't even get a libertarian elected at the state level. So our focus right now should be on local city, county, and state races. There are over 519,000 elected offices around the country, with only about 214 of them occupied by self-identified libertarians. We have so much room to grow. We must be willing to stretch our comfort zones and just go for it. We have 4 years to build our networks all around the country, but in our local communities, and elect some more libertarians. It's our time to rise. Let's make it happen.